Hi and welcome to this video. In this video, we are going to talk about vocabulary for IELTS. My name is Abhishek, the Chief Coach and Co-Founder here at Grassroot Education, and the agenda of today's lesson is going to be threefold. Let me take you through. We will first talk about whether vocabulary is actually needed. Is it worth all the effort? Then we will talk about how we should develop vocabulary, what is a good starting point. And three, we will discuss about how we master it. You've started the basics, you've warmed up nicely, but now it's time to increase your levels and eventually crack the exam. So how do you master that skill is what we'll discuss in the third segment. Without further ado, let's talk about the significance. Let's see whether vocabulary is actually important for your IELTS test. Now these are the band descriptors of your writing task 2. You have these 4 parameters broadly based on which you are given your IELTS score. One of these parameters is the lexical resource. In simple language, lexical resource is nothing but vocabulary. What is vocabulary? Usage of less common words or synonyms. Similarly, you have band descriptors for speaking, where you have the lexical resource component again. So lexical resource constitutes 25% of your writing test and your speaking test. What about the other 2 modules then? Is it important to have good vocabulary to score well in your reading and listening modules as well? The answer is yes. If you know good words, if you know more words, if you know the precise meaning of these words, then you will be able to understand the audio better. You will be able to comprehend the text that is in front of you. And if you're able to do that, you'll be able to answer more questions and thus get a better score. Now that we are in agreement that vocabulary is absolutely critical if you have to do well in any of the 4 modules, let us now see how we can develop vocabulary. Have a look at these 2 words on your screen. The first one is poco curante. The second one is cold. The first one seems pretty complex, right? So if I ask you which word will give you a better score in your IELTS test, many of you would think the first one is a better word to use because it's complicated, it sounds fancy. However, the answer is that you can use either of the 2 provided you know the precise meaning of the word. Poco curante is a very rare word in English, not used often, and it means indifferent or unconcerned. There's a good chance that you might misplace this particular word because you have probably just memorized it and you don't know different applications of this particular word. On the other hand, the word cold also means lacking affection or unemotional. Yes, there are multiple meanings of this word. So cold can simply be temperature. The other meaning is what I just described of lacking affection. So if you know the exact precise usage of cold, and if you're using it correctly, you will score better than using the first one incorrectly. Now, with this clarity, let us go further and see how we are going to develop this kind of vocabulary. Words that need not be ridiculously complicated, words that are slightly less common, but you know the usage correctly, precisely, accurately. Alright, so there are just 2 phases for developing vocabulary. 1, creating the words. 2, using the words. Just remember this mantra, create and use. That's simple. So let's talk about create first. How are we going to create good words? What you are going to do is you are going to make your own word list. Yes, it's nice to have a lot of PDFs, documents, visiting websites that give you a long list of words, but they don't really help you because they have not been yours yet. You've just seen these words, they're yet not sticking into your mind, and therefore you might not be able to use it. And if you're not able to use it, IELTS will not give you that desired score. So what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you own these words. Okay, so what you're going to do is number 1, you're going to have your own word list, which means you're going to write them down. You can write it on a notebook or you can create a digital record of it. Doesn't matter, but make sure that you're putting in that effort. How are you going to write this particular word list? You are going to do it in this format. Write the word, then its meaning, and then write a real life example sentence. The reason why I am insisting for a real life example sentence is you will recollect it. easily. Okay, now you can create a fictitious sentence for that particular word, but it will be difficult for you to recollect. But if it is something from your real life, the moment you think of that situation again, this word will come up in your mind. Let's take an example. The word cold that we just discussed. The meaning is unemotional or lacking affection. Okay. Now look at this real life example sentence. So I have a friend Rohit who is very cold towards strangers. As in, he does not talk in a very friendly manner towards strangers because he got robbed last year. So last year he trusted a friend, and because of that trust, he got looted of his money. Unfortunate incident, but since then he has been very careful towards any new person that he talks to. So what I'll say, my friend Rohit has been cold towards strangers ever since he got robbed last year. This is my real life example sentence. Now each time I think of my friend Rohit, I am going to think of the word cold, his attitude towards strangers. Okay, now I could have said that politicians are cold towards the public. I could have said that, right? But saying that will not help me to immediately recollect this word because it's nothing to do with my life. It's a generic statement as such, right? So please make sure that you're putting in a real life sentence. Now, you have to use it as well. It is not enough if you just write it in your word list. You have to try and use it in different situations. Okay, now let us think of certain other examples. Think of this word cold in various contexts of your life. First can be professional setup. Okay, so think of your manager, your boss, your co-workers, your employees, your team members, maybe a supplier, a service provider, customers. All right, and think of this particular word cold. Have you seen anyone giving a cold attitude towards someone else? Think of it and frame a sentence that way. For instance, I would say the email service provider is very cold towards their customers. Okay, so they don't give good customer support. They're very cold. That's one. Next, you can think of friends. Think of any two people in your friend circle who don't talk to each other that much. You can say that Mr. A is very cold towards Mr. B ever since Mr. B started talking behind the back of Mr. A. Okay, so some kind of a friendly fight as such going on here, due to which two people are cold towards each other. Third can be family. For example, I can say, I was wondering why my brother was very cold towards my sister. Later, I realized it was because my sister did not greet my brother when he walked in. Okay, random example. Now think of daily chores or errands. Errands as in some small odd jobs that you want to do. Now think of daily chores or errands, some small work that you do. You probably go out, do something and then come back. Think of an example in that situation. For instance, there are no shops near my place. There is just one particular place where we have to get the daily groceries, and the shopkeeper of that particular supermarket is very cold. Okay, as in that particular shopkeeper does not smile, he does not have a warm attitude, so you will say he's a cold person. Okay, so next time I think of that shop, I'm going to think of this word. So that is how you're going to program your mind. You have created it and then you have to use it under different context. Now let us extrapolate these words and use it in the writing task too. Because finally that is the goal, right? Your goal is not to just build vocabulary. Your goal is to make sure that the developed vocabulary is applied in the exam and you get credit for it. That is the final most important step. So let us do that. Check out this question. Many people believe that robots will be doing the job of doctors in the future. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Okay, simple, straightforward opinion question. Let's see. I am going to pick out different words from the question and let us think of certain synonyms and see how it fits in. All right. So if you know the word opinion, you could have now written, instead of many people believe, you could have said many people are of the opinion. Similarly, you can use the word belief, change the word believe into the noun form and say out of the belief, or you can use the word trust, right? Say three options that you have in front of you. Now, let's see what you need to be careful of and what you should do and should not do. First one, many are of the opinion that, correct, similar meaning, right? Many people believe that robots will be, many are of the opinion that robots will be. Check out the second example. People are of the belief that robots will be doing the job of, and then we keep paraphrasing and go ahead. But check out the last one. Students think that believe and trust are synonyms, so I can just replace it. But here the context is different. When I say many people believe that, what is meant to be conveyed is many people are of the opinion that, many people think that, okay, many people assume that. It is not that many people trust something. It is not that meaning of belief. So therefore, if you write many trust that robots will be doing the job of, then the meaning would be incorrect. So that's why understanding the precise meaning of the word becomes very important. Simply replacing synonyms will not help. Okay, so even if you're learning a very simple word, make sure you're learning it thoroughly and using it under different context so that it gives you full clarity. Let us check another word. Look at the word job in the same question prompt. One synonym can be work, right? Job, work. Another word can be activities. A third word can be employment. So these are the three options that hit my mind the moment I saw the word job. Now let's see how I can apply it as I write my essay. When I paraphrase, I can say robots will do the work of. Okay, robots will do the work of doctors in the times to come. Or I can say robots will take care of activities executed by doctors in the next few years. Or I can say employment of robots over doctors will be the norm in the future, and so on. Now, if you look at these three statements carefully, you will realize that the first two are correct. They mean the same as what is given in the question prompt. But the third one is incorrect. Why? Because for job, when we said robots will do the work of, you're just talking about that particular activity, right? That particular work. So yes, that work will be done by robots, no problem. The second one is also similar. Robots will take care of activities that are being done by doctors right now, right? So that particular activity, now doctors are doing it, robots come in now. But look at the third one. Employment of robots over doctors. So in this case, you're saying you're going to pay money to the robots and you're going to employ robots and you will not have doctors. Now that doesn't make sense, right? The question prompt simply says that the work of doctors will be done by robots in the future. It does not say that doctors will lose their jobs and robots will be employed, as in we will pay the robots to get in. A better word here could have been deployment of robots, okay, which means to get somebody's services. Okay, deployment of something, deployment of capital, deployment of human labor, and so on, which means you are putting them to use to get some output. But employment would mean something else. So therefore, please be very careful of using like for like synonyms. Please understand the meaning clearly and precisely, and then you will ace the vocabulary game. So to summarize this entire lesson, number one, why is vocabulary needed? It is 25% of the writing band descriptors and 25% of the speaking band descriptors. Apart from that, it will give you an increased understanding of the listening audio and of the reading passages. So therefore, vocabulary is of paramount importance. You need them for sure. How do you develop it? Two methods, create and use. How do you create? You make your own word list. How do you make your own word list? You write the word, you write the meaning, and you write a real life example sentence. Will you write any word you wish? No. You will use words that are slightly less common. You need not have ridiculously complicated literary words that are no longer in use. Third, how do you master it? You use it under different context. You will use it under professional context, personal context, for different situations in your life and so on, so that you are able to master it properly. Finally, we also saw that in your writing task 2, please don't go for like synonyms without understanding the meaning properly. In several cases, the meaning can be incorrect and that will change the whole game of the writing question, so please be very careful. It is okay if you don't have a lot of words, but All you need to do is make sure that even if you're writing one word per day, you know the precise meaning of those words and you're able to apply it in the exam. I hope you liked this particular lesson. If you have not registered for a free live class program, please click on the link and register for it. freelifeclass.getresponsepages.com. If you want to join our fast track program, which is our advanced training course and has been getting several success stories, please fill the admissions form. Our counselor will get in touch with you. You can have a discussion and then we'll be glad to have you in our fast track program community. I wish you all the best and I'll see you around. Bye bye.